I almost left my own meeting by accident. All right, we're gonna get this thing started here. Can you guys see me? Oh. Good, we're back. Okay, cool. I got it all figured out. What's up, Lynn? How are you? All right, y'all. Apologize for my lack of lighting here. I'm in my buddy's basement in Minnesota. So say hi, basement. Just did a little workout in there. Kids are all here. We have a big graduation happening. So anyway, I'm super excited. I wanted to talk to you about something kind of short and sweet, but something that I think is really important at the time that we're in at the moment. But also a conversation that I had with one of our new champs and who's absolutely crushing it. And it was really cool, the conversation, because as when you become and as you're becoming a team leader of your own team, if this is with customers or promoters, you sometimes learn just as much by coaching as you do by actually hearing the coaching. And that's a good sign and something I would encourage, everybody to do more of. And that's something that I'm going to encourage you kind of at the end of this thing. And so I'm going to tell you a story about 2 years ago. It's almost a year and a half ago. I was listening to a Zoom, and I've been wanting to get this guy on. There's a language barrier, and I'm trying to work through the language barrier. But I'd love to have him, if you guys would like to, if I can pull it off and get Fabio from Italy on and do a training on really what I'm going to talk about. But he inspired me and did something that I think was really, he was a slap in the face for me, to be honest, because I wasn't doing some of the basic foundations of what was going to be successful. I was trying to be more creative than I needed to be. I was trying to do more than what it needed to be done to have the success that I was looking for. And sometimes it's easy for us to get caught up in all that and just take a step back and break it down into a simplistic manner. And so I took what he said really serious. Like, I took it almost personal that he was talking to me. Now, he wasn't talking to me, he was talking globally, but when we implemented what he was talking about, it changed not only my business, but it changed a lot of people's business that follow suit. So what I would like to do is deliver that message to you all and see if you can take some of that with you. But what reminded me of this is the conversation I had with Amanda, I don't know, a couple days ago, 3 days ago, was when I was talking to her about this. She has some rock stars that are crushing it and doing amazing, and they're ready to rank up and go to rank sixes and all this cool stuff. And we're talking, and at the end of the day, it was really about getting more simplified. It was really about slowing down to go faster. It was really about taking what we already know and doing really good at that, rather than adding all this other stuff that are important. We all need to work on mindset. I just did the stop technique, true story. I did Joseph's stop technique right before this call. Had nothing to do with this call. It had to do with the text I got I triggered me. It literally triggered me. I'm shaking my butt. I'm doing the stop technique. So it was pretty cool that I got to use that technique, which I want everybody to encourage that personal growth. But I would love to give you this one concept around the challenge that, and this challenge is, it's obviously Prove It has a challenge, but it's also a metaphor for how to build your business. And I'm gonna give you a couple little analogies, and then I want to get right to the meat of this. So you guys okay to learn a little bit of what I learned from Fabio? Now, Fabio runs a huge international business throughout Italy. Is absolutely a stud. Is a really cool guy. And I am working on getting him to do a team call for us. It's just language is a little bit of, it's a process. Anyway, you guys all want to learn that? I'd love to share it with you all. All right, cool. So I'm sitting there on a Zoom, and he, well, let me tell you this question. So how many of you feel like you're just sprinting, like running 100 miles per hour with your hair on fire? Anybody? So we get like that. So I want you to keep this in mind. This business it's not a sprint and it's not a marathon. It's a sprint marathon combination. And so something that was really interesting, I was listening to one of the leaders in network marketing speak on, is he took a guy. And how many of you have heard this? And it's kind of piggybacks off what Cameron and what Amanda were talking about on the Zoom on Monday. And what they said was brilliant. And then what happened was there was another person on the call that gave a different perspective. And I think it could have created some confusion. So I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit, because what Cameron had said was so valuable and so important. And then it could have gotten lost based on how it was reframed by somebody else. And I want to kind of tie that back together to what I'm talking about here with the challenge. So when Fabio hit me, it was just like, it was a ton of bricks that hit me in the heart of like, this is simpler than you're making it. You can go faster, and it can be done in such a cool way. If we can look at this as a little different analogy. So I'm watching this leader in network marketing. He goes, okay, let's just be consistent. It's a marathon. Let's just take one, like, hey, just talk to a person here and there, talk to a person here and there. Doesn't mean you can't have success in this. What he did is he had a guy walk around the room. There's a big stadium. And he goes, I just want you to take one step, but don't go too fast. I just want you to take one step forward, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. So you're being consistent. It means once a week, twice a week, once a day, you're reaching out to somebody. Maybe once a week, you're reaching out to somebody, or twice a week, or 3 times a week, right? So, and he had the guy walk around the room. And what he showed is that, the guy still got around the room. The guy was still getting around the room. But what happens is when people think that's how you build your business, you can build your business that way. The time frame of building your business that way might take you 5 or 6 or 7 years to hit an expectation or a goal, which is fine if that's what your expectation is. But what happens is people come in, they want goals and they want to run for stuff, and they're not hitting those goals. What happens, it feels like you're failing, even though you are moving forward. Is everybody tracking me right now? Right. And so sometimes, like I'm going into surgery right now. So I'm in a different state of mind getting ready for my next surgery than I was 3 months ago when I wasn't thinking about my surgery, if that makes any sense. Like somebody's getting ready to get married or getting ready to go, your energy and your focus is shifted to something else a little bit. So you're going to see ebbs and flows of your business, but keep moving forward. So I love the consistency, and I want to encourage people that are moving forward, just keep moving forward. Don't stop. But if you want to go faster, and what he showed was this, he goes, you put challenges, I'm using my languages, but put challenges in place. What a challenge is a sprint. It's a sprint. So a challenge, right now, Cameron has the team doing a different type of challenges, and a challenge is a sprint. It's an ability to run fast, but you're still in the marathon. And what you do is, but here's the secret. Somebody can help me out. There you go. So a challenge is a sprint. So you want to put challenges in place to run fast. And what happens is it's funny because the guy's going slow around the room. And then what he did is he ran fast for like 25 steps. He didn't stop. That's the secret about the challenge, is that too many people run a challenge, they run a sprint, and they stop moving forward. So there's the other concept I want to put in place here. So it's not a sprint and it's not a marathon. It is a marathon of sprints. It's a marathon. Let's rephrase that. It's a marathon interwove with sprints. And that's our real business if you want to go further faster. On the flip side of that, can you sprint forever? Can you just sprint? Some of you right now, I ask you feel like you're sprinting. Some of you are like, yeah, I feel like I'm always sprinting. Like I'm just going. And there's times in your business where your business dictates you to sprint faster. Right now, Amanda, I'm using Amanda as an example because she hit rank 6 and now she has people that are chasing her to rank 6. So she's in a position where, like we always say, if the surf is up, don't get out of the water, right? If the waves are big, stay in the water and ride that wave. But at the same time, in your mind, know that you're going to run that sprint, and what you're going to do is things are going to slow down a little bit, and you're going back into the marathon pace. And what you need to do is recharge your batteries to go sprint again. Okay. So for some of you, and as a leader, this is something that gets a little bit more complex, right? Because at one point, like, I might push Amanda one way. At the same time, I don't want to necessarily push Lynn the same way, even though they both have very certain same intensities of wanting to go win. I might not push them the same way because Lynn may be in a different phase in her business or in her life that she needs to be supported in the marathon and to get ready to hit the sprint. Even though if you ask Lynn wants to be hit to sprint all the time. If you ask her, she wants to be pushed all the time, but that might not actually be the thing that's going to serve her business long-term because she isn't in a position to run at the moment. She needs to recuperate, get everything back in place. And so it was really a cool analogy. I hope this analogy is working. So I want you to visualize you're walking around a big room, and as long as you keep moving forward, you're going to have success as long as you're able to manage the expectations of that success. It might take you longer. I'm okay. There's people that have run way faster than me. There's people that have legend faster than me. There's people, I haven't hit legend yet, but I'm going to, right? And I've had to manage those expectations of how fast it's all happening. At the same time, I have a tendency to want to sprint all the time, which ultimately slowed me down. If you sprint all the time, eventually you just you put the brakes on. Well, you don't want to do that either, if that makes any sense. You want to keep moving forward, recharge, and then hit some more challenges or sprints. So why I'm saying this is that that's what challenge marketing is about. It's about running challenges, and I'm using that word because that's our analogy of words. It's about running a sprint situationally and timely. So if you're currently in this as a business, obviously you're on the Zoom, so you're in this as a business. So I want you to think about where's your challenge you're going to run. Okay. For some of you, and I want you to write this down. For some of you, the challenge you're running right now, let me ask you, I did this about a year ago. It was almost exactly a year ago. So how many have plateaued on their health goals? I see Layla. Anybody else? Raise your hand if you plateaued on your health goal. Jason, Deanna. Oh, this is weird. I didn't know Zoom changed that way. Derek, Shannon, Nicole. I will tell you something. Everybody, that's all the hands I can see at the moment. Okay, this is cool. I didn't know Zoom changes format and went up versus sideways. Maybe it can do both actually. It's pretty neat. I don't play around that much on this stuff, guys, to be honest. Okay, there's a direct proportion of you plateauing on your health goal and you're recruiting to your business. There's a direct correlation to it. So for some of you right now, if you're running a business challenge and you're plateaued on your health goal, your energy, especially if that's why you came into this business, is because you like the product and you wanted a good result. There's a correlation between your health goal and your business, right? They correlate together. The same thing is if you're plateaued on your business, you might notice that you're plateaued on your health goals. They go together. They're interwoven because we're in a health business. For some of you right now, the challenge you should put in front of you is maybe more around an experience around the core four and focus on putting that together. Hey, I'm going to go accomplish this goal. And then you grab 2 or 3 teammates to do it with you. I didn't say 70 or 80. I said 2 or 3 teammates to do it with you. And what that happens is that creates momentum and you hold you accountable to moving forward. So some of you need to focus on the challenge at hand with all the promotions we have. And we have a food challenge. We have obviously our recruiting promoter challenges. We have the Prove It has challenges in front of us right now. So for some of us, we need to focus on that. So what I want you to do is identify where you're at in the moment. Identify where you're at. Where's your, if you're ready to sprint. Some of you right now, it may not be the best time to sprint. You might sprint yourself out, right? Some of you right now just need to maybe just take like another day or two, write down what your goals are for the end of the month, right? Write down what your goals are for the end of the month, right? Remind yourself what your goals are for your overall business and your journey here. What's your time frame and commitment to that, right? When I joined Prove It, I wanted to make $5,000 a month and I was willing to give myself 2 years to get there. I want everybody to hear that again. So does anybody have bigger goals than $5,000 a month? Almost everybody on here probably will raise their hand, right? Now, I'm just giving you my expectation. My expectation, and this is because of doing business and looking at it as a residual income. I wasn't looking at this as I was going to retire from my career and this is what I was doing. I was looking at this as a residual income-based business. I was going to give myself 2 years to get to $5,000 a month. How many of you have not been in for 2 years yet? So my expectation was that was the marathon of it all. I had 2 years to figure this stuff out to understand how to build a business. Okay. I ran sprints inside of there based off of Prove It and Brian and Michael, and you have team leaders like Cameron and Amanda and Lynn and like that are leading maybe you to go further, faster, and putting challenges in place. Well, when you add those challenges in there, I went faster than 2 years. Is that everybody making sense? So, but what I want you to do is I want you to recognize, reassess where your goals are. And what I want you to do is I want you to be serious with it. Like you can have the big goal. I mean, I want the big house and I want to fly a private jet and all this other stuff. I don't actually want to fly the jet, but I want that. I want that. I want that to be my normal life. Right. So that's my big goals, but I have specific goals for this year. And I have to refocus those goals. Like Joseph McClendon right now says it's halftime. This is halfway through our year. And this is the time to sit down and reflect on how far have you made it into your goals. Now you could be nowhere near, you could have a weight loss goal of 100 pounds and only be at 30 pounds and still hit your goal by the end of the year. But I promise you, if you hit 80 pounds, you'll be very proud of yourself. You could be in this business right now and say, hey, my goal is to make $10,000 in 2022. And you're at $1,000 now. Well, you could hit $10,000 because it's compounded in our business model. You could make almost all the money could come in the last month, if that makes any sense. If you've established what your goals are. So don't ever look at it as a mountain's too high to climb based on your goals, but has anybody sat down and reassessed their goals from the beginning of the year to now? And then Awesome, Lynn. That's good. So I want everybody to take a moment and reflect on that. But I want you to do it across the board. I want you to look at your family relationship. I want you to look at your health. I want you to look at your business. I want you to look at the whole picture. If it's spiritual for you, I want you to look at the whole picture. And you might, in the moment, there might be a challenge you're putting in place. For instance, for me, we were supposed to have a special guest today. His schedule got a little bit tricky, so we have it on. Is for me, one of my number one goals for this year is to improve the relationship with my wife. True story. It's like 5 love languages I'm listening to again for like the third time. And I want to work on that. It's something that's really important to me. And it's probably at a higher importance to me than anything income-based, right? Because I look at what's my marathon and my relationship, right? So this is how I assess, and I'm being truly transparent with you all. I had another health goal because I went through a lot of surgeries. I have another big one coming up. So I'm trying to get myself in a healthier state physically to prepare for a surgery. And then I have some very specific business goals, which are really big. And I've had to assess those. And in each one of them, I'm in a different place in June than I probably thought I was going to be if I would have assessed it. If I would have said where I was in June, I have high expectations. I probably would have overshot myself. If that makes sense, I would have thought I would be further ahead in probably each one of them. And that's just my personality trait. Now, at the same time, I'm celebrating because I'm not stopping. I'm still moving forward, but I had to put sprints in place, right? I had to put sprints in place so that or a challenge in place so that I can go for there. So for me, I listened into the 5 love languages and then I stopped for 2 weeks, right? So my challenge to me is to not miss it every single day for the rest of the month. Does that make sense? So I'm not going to miss listening to that audiobook every single day for the rest of the month. And I only do like 10 minutes worth and then I implement what I learned. I like Brian's style about that. He's like, take a bite and then implement it. Don't go learn the whole book and then not do any of it. So that's just my style. So to wrap this all up, and what I wanted to really discuss is where's your run at? What's your run at? What's your challenge? What's your challenge for the rest of the month? And I want you to assess that and really be honest with yourself. I am okay. Listen, we have these awesome, cool promos to make more money. And when I was talking to Amanda, the situation was she has somebody that's just a stud, the rock star, unbelievable, and she needs to make some more money. And I'm like, well, put the challenges in front of us if she's ready to run for them. But what was interesting is that she had a call with her, and Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong at any level here, is that they kind of told her all the stuff that she had to do or could do. It's like, here's all the playbooks. Like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And I said, well, that's awesome. And she's amazing. And she'll probably hit some of those. But I go, what if we just took one of the things and said for the next 48 hours, you just focused on one of these and you crushed it. And then after 48 hours, you move to the next thing. Which one do you think she'll be more effective at? And so, Amanda, I don't know how it's going so far, but if you have any feedback on that, I would love to, because to me, that is the art of the challenge, right? Is you run that race, put your focus on that challenge. And then after the challenge, we move to another one, or we take a day or two, regroup, and then we relaunch another one, right? So anything you want to add to that?
No, it was a good awareness for myself too, because like, instead of just spitting all this stuff out at her, like we have this, why not break it down start with, the food challenge at first and get your 2 customers. So therefore that bonus is done. Once that's done, move on to the summer splash and get the new promoters in. By July, you're going to get an extra $2,500 in your pocket. So it was a good awareness for me, and it's going great for her. She's actually running for the Go for No challenge right now, and I'm working on building her team.
Awesome. Keep it up. Nice job. So I just finished a 28-day challenge with a bunch of men. Any of you guys have a guy, or any of you guys that were on here that were in? I know Derek's on here, but we had a 28-day challenge for kind of the dudes, and it was just something I wanted to put together. But it was really focused for them to do the challenge, and the results have been extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And so my goal here is, when I was listening to Fabio and he said something, this is where my challenge to you guys is going to come. Is I want you to really write down what's your challenge, or what's your sprint, or what's the challenge you're running for. And let's be clear about that. If you're going for the food challenge of the promotion that Prove It has in front of us for the food, then be clear about that challenge, be clear about that focus, and let's go hit it by the end of the month. If you're not sure what it is, go back to Pulse and look it up, because sometimes we get so much information coming in, we miss the simplicity something so simple as doing the food challenge and makes them some extra money. If your challenge is promoters and you're like, hey, I'm really going to run for this promoting challenge, well, then be very clear about that. And let's put that in place. Okay. Now, the third one, if you're in a health challenge and you haven't done the core 4 challenge yet, then that should, if you're struggling and plateaued and your energy is not maybe projecting out to the world because you're plateaued or you gain 5 pounds back, well, then it's time to put that challenge in place. Because you can sit there and give yourself, hey, I'm going to recruit 4 promoters and I'm going to get all this other things happening. But if it's not inspiring you to go for it, then you have to you have to be inspired to go sprint. Does that make sense? Like, you're not going to run if you're not going to run. If you're not ready to run, then that's okay. So find the challenge that you're ready to run and then commit to it. Now, if you need a day or 2 or 3 days to get set up for it, I'm okay with that. And that's a secret that I learned that I was mistaking early on. Was what happened was I'm a constant, like, what's next, right? And I put my head down and I would go, but I was not stopping and regrouping. And therefore what happens is I'm going a million miles per hour, but I'm losing people out the back end because they're not staying on the truck with me. I'm just going, I'm about out of hell crazy. So it's okay. And one of the coolest things when I set up earlier this year, I had a big recruiting challenge, a promoter recruiting challenge. And what I set up, one of the things that he was saying was really, I think, really insightful for me was, set your date. He goes, if you set your date 6 months from now that you're going to do your core 4 challenge, or you're going to go on a recruiting challenge, if you set it for 6 months from now or a year from now, you're not that committed to whatever, life's got to be really, you're maybe not ready to do much. You just stay in a marathon race and don't even plan it out. He goes, but if you need a week or 2 or 3 weeks or even a month to get ready to run, he goes, that's okay. He goes, that's okay. Just be aware it's going to impact how your business is going to grow. This is all focused on bringing on promoters. He goes, but set a date. Tell people the date. So if you're getting ready to do a core 4 challenge, set a date. Don't just say, I'm going to start tomorrow. That's what I'm trying to say is I'm just going to start tomorrow. Are you really ready and committed to starting tomorrow? Have you invited people to do it with you yet? No. If it's just, hey, I'm going to do a challenge, go do core 4, do another core 4, do another core 4. What happens is at the end of all these core 4s, eventually you're the only one doing them by yourself and you're kind of half-assing it, if that makes any sense. It's not setting it up. So we just finished this core 4. We took about a 10-day break and we got together and we're like, okay, we're going to do another one. But like what I'm doing with the team that's of gentlemen that we're doing this with is that the goal is they all have to bring 2 extra people with us on the challenge so that we're building the challenge up. Okay. We're expanding the challenge. If we don't, then we'll still finish the 28-day challenge. But that tells me that we need to do a whole regroup and a refocus. Otherwise, it's just going to drift away. It's not right, Jennifer Mann. Jennifer Mann's been crushing challenges now for a long time. But part of that is that we have to sometimes regroup and get buy-in from another group of people. So I know that was a little off topic, but here's the message I really want to deliver is that this is a marathon to your goals. But if you're not clear about what your goals are, short-term and long-term, refocus and reassess what your goals are. This is halftime of the year. Know that it's a marathon. The year is a marathon, right? Just know that it's a marathon. But throughout the marathon, if you want to be super effective, you have to put sprints in place to move faster. So when they were doing the walk around the room, the guy that was walking slowly made it around the room like twice. And it was like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And the guy that was running, he would sprint for only like 30 steps, right? And then he would walk. Well, he ended up lapping that guy 3 times. So for a long time, Amanda was in a marathon of just slowly. Then she decided to sprint. And then she took off, right? Well, at some point, she's regrouped a few times throughout this journey and kind of refocused and setting some things up. Well, that's okay. She didn't stop. She kept moving forward. And then now she's ready for another sprint with maybe a teammate coming along with her. So that's really the art of our business. But that's the same thing on the product and the same thing in the business. They coexist. So when Fabio said to me, he's like, Dustin, he didn't speak to me. He was speaking to everybody. This is how I hear it. Dustin, if you're not doing the challenge, if we're going to be marketing a core 4 challenge and you're not currently going to do a challenge, you can't recruit to the challenge that well. He goes, you can sell all day long. You can sell, but you get just as many people going out the back end because you're not invested into it. So if you want to bring on a lot of customers around our challenge marketing packs and around the better bundles, then you better be doing something with them. if that makes sense. You better run the challenge with them if you want them to stay with you in the journey. If you're not with them, then basically you're just telling somebody else what to do, but you're not leading by example. At the same time, you can't run back to back to back to back challenges very effectively. So it's okay to regroup and re-break. So you might only run, Amanda might only run like 4 or 5 28-day challenges for the whole year. Doesn't mean she doesn't bring people in every month. Doesn't mean she doesn't coexist with those people, but she'll get more out of her business if she inserts herself into and get passionate about it. Maybe it's a push-up challenge that she's doing, or maybe it's a lean leg challenge. I don't know. I'm making that up. But do a challenge, like incorporate the challenge around the product. What that does is like, because Shannon raised her hand, she's plateaued on the product or plateaued on her health goals. I don't know if you guys know. So I know Shannon and Amanda work together. Well, Shannon plateaued on the product. I guarantee you when she plateaus on the product, her business will be affected. So by Amanda running a challenge with herself, and what she's doing is she's putting Shannon in the position to run a challenge with her. It gets Shannon's business moving because she's moving forward in the product, if that makes any sense. Well, then now the business starts to grow, and then we can incorporate a business challenge with it. So that's why the product challenges are so important, I think. So the same thing applying to the if you're going for a food promo right now and you're not running for it, but you're trying to coach your team into running for it, you'll find that it doesn't work very well. It's not working very well because you're not actually actively doing it the same way. So what I heard from Fabio was, if you're not doing it, your team's not doing it. So if you want to, and this is if you have 2 customers, you can run your own challenge with 2 customers, with 1 customer, with 2 friends. So what I want to encourage everybody to do is coming off the Zoom is here's your takeaways. Is coming off the Zoom. I want to encourage you to do this. Reassess where your goals are. Celebrate that you're here and you're still going for them. If you're watching this, you're here and you're still going for them. The year's not over. I watched too much sports to watch people come back in the fourth quarter. And guess what? Those are the best games, by the way. But we're only at halftime. Okay? We're only at halftime. So I want you to reassess your goals. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to put down some of you I know are already in challenges going on right now, but what's your challenge that you're running for? And if you're going to be focusing on, let's say you want to focus on the promoter recruiting challenge right now, well, you can do a couple of things. Number 1 is what does that look like? How many you're going for? Number 2, what I want you to do is do you feel confident in running for it? If you do not, get on with the team leader that you work with and say, okay, listen, how do I go for that challenge? What do I need to do? Like, where am I at? What do I need to say? Now, there's some activity Zooms that have been going on that have been extraordinarily awesome, talking about some of these things. Liz, you did a great job, by the way, the other day. I appreciate you for filling in. That was so amazing. And so I want you to actually go and put a challenge in place, and I want you to run that challenge. But if you feel like you're doing 30 things at once, it won't be effective. Remember, a sprint is a direct line, and it's a direct focus and a direct path. We don't want to be thinking, if you're doing 9 challenges all at once, you're probably not sprinting. You're probably just going nice and slow. So really focus on one thing at a time, if that makes any sense, to run to accomplish that goal and prioritize it. If your priority is your health right now, like I said, I have a very big business goal and I have very specific focus towards that, but I also have a very big personal goal of improving relationship with my family. And that's something that's super dear to me. That is my priority. That's the first thing I do in the day is I prioritize that. Okay. Now I don't always prioritize. There's sometimes where we need to make more money or we want to have big financial goals. And that's my first thing I do in the day in some situations when I start my work day, if that makes sense. So I want you to be clear about that as where your focus is, where your challenge is. And I want you to put that into place and write it down. Then you're going to text your team leader where you are in your goals for the year. And I want you to text your team leader where you are, what challenge you're running for, where your focus is. Now, if they're already running a challenge with you, you're already in it, always finish the race. If you're always in a challenge, run the race. Don't stop. Finish it. If you're starting a 28-day challenge, you're halfway through and you're kind of half-assing it, I don't care. Finish it. Finish the challenge, but then regroup, refocus, and put a plan together and go for it. Okay? And then just keep moving forward in your energy. So that's what I heard from Fabio. And since we've been running the challenges for a year and a half, and I don't run a challenge every month, I don't run a 10, but I've ran lots of challenges. It has been such a huge success to our business. And that same thing applies to business challenges and promoting customer challenges or product challenges, meaning results on the product challenges. It all creates positive momentum in your business, and it's all the part of the sprint. So with that said and done, y'all, I appreciate you. I was going to do another topic, but we're not going to cover that one. just get prepared to have your own Thanksgiving dinner sooner than later. Some of you know what that means, some of you don't, but you'll get to hear about that soon. But I appreciate y'all. Anybody have any questions before I hop off? Feel free to unmute. Jennifer, I'll see you soon.
Are we doing love languages soon? We talked about that.
We are. I'm working on it. The gentleman that I was doing it had a schedule conflict, so I have a guy that's going to come on and do a little talk on love languages, the 5 languages. I think it's really cool. If you haven't seen that, grab that book, listen to, or I listened to audio of it, and it's been it's funny because you know what you know, and it's a reminder. But I'll just give you my little 2 glimpse. So my growing up, I'm very ineffectual family. We never hugged and said I loved you ever. It's the first time in my life we actually finally say I love you, and I'm 45 years old. So it's just if you come to my house and you get hit in the arm really hard, or maybe a jaw dropper or a drop kick, that means I love you in my family, right? That's how we show affection in our family. The first thing I'm home now and I haven't seen my family, but the first thing that's going to happen when I get there, I'm going to get hit, and I know that's my love language. But my wife's love language is affection and quality time together. Well, I grew up exactly the opposite of that. Well, what's really cool about that is that what I learned in this book, and it's hard for me, is that he basically said is like, you have to learn your loves. You have to learn your wife's love language. It's not something and you have to learn to love it in her language. Like, and if you don't, it's going to be struggle. And it's something I struggle with because I like when you hug me or get on me, I'm not comfortable. So I've had to work on that. And it's a constant journey. The good thing is I've been working on it for like 9 years, y'all. This isn't new by no means. And it's something I want to keep getting better at. And so, but this applies to our business, not just our personal life, right? So Amanda has a love language. Lynn has a love language. Jason has a love language. Derek has a love. We all have it. So you start to pick up on it as you start to practice it yourself. And a lot of people don't even know their own love languages, right? I don't like gifts. I get really uncomfortable with gifts, and it's something I've had to work on. So anyway, I want to do a training on that because I think it's valuable for not just your own personal life, but it's also valuable for your business. But I think if you're working on your personal life, your business will only grow. And I think that's really, really important. Art Williams did a speech on, the only way to have success in this is to work on your family and your personal and your spiritual life and your business life. They all have to grow is the only way to have long-term success. That is the recipe. And sometimes people are willing to go to me, that's the ultimate success. And so, and I know everybody has dynamics in their personal life. Lynn and I have been chatting about, something amazing that's come into her life. And it's so cool that things like these things can happen. So, but anyway, I appreciate you all. Figure out let's get your challenge lined up and run for it. We are going to be doing another group challenge, Core 4 challenge starting the 28th. It's the 28th, Derek. I think that's the day, Monday, whatever Monday is. And so if you're a dude and you want to jump in with us, come in. We're not saying no to ladies, by the way. You're more than welcome. But we're really trying to put more energy towards getting your husband and your boyfriend or whoever, or just a dude on your team, to have them pulled into a new group and to give them some, different types of love and different types of conversation. So if you have a dude that's out there that's looking to be part of something, or if you're a woman that you just really like to be around dudes and you want to be part of it, we're inviting everybody in. Just hit me a private message. I'll invite you guys in. So starting Monday. Cheers, y'all.